Alright, so first things first, you want to download the add-ons I'm going to send in the channel, as well as the program. I'm probably going to leave the links in the description as well, because why the fuck not. And you're going to basically want to make sure ID tip, sim builder, and um, pawn are turned on. And then you want to open your character panel, you want to go to SimC, and you're going to copy everything except the first line. You can skip the first line if you want, it's useless. You're going to copy everything, and then you're going to jump over to the program I made you download. So then you go to the simulate tab, and this is what you're going to find. Just replace everything there. Now you take the main hand line at the bottom of the profile, you copy it and you replace it with the main hand line that's already in the profile, and then you basically delete these three lines because they're useless now. Then you're gonna want to go to your crucible, and you're gonna go to your third relic, and at the bottom of the tooltip you're gonna see item ID and bonus ID. So you're gonna want to take the bonus IDs and you're gonna write them down in the main hand line at the relic IDs. So this are the bonus IDs of your first relic, these are the bonus IDs of your second relic, and you're gonna have to add the bonus IDs of your third relic. So you put a slash and then you type the bonus IDs, so 3612. Then you put a colon to separate them instead of slashes like in the tooltip. Then 1507, and then 3339. So that's that for the main hand. Then you're gonna go to your artifact string, and you're gonna add another line under it. In there, you're gonna type crucible equals, and then you're gonna start putting in your netherlight traits. So the first one is going to be the thing that increases by 5 item levels. So 1739. So that's going to be the same for everyone. So 1739, and then you put a 3, like column 3, because you have 3 of them. Then you put another column to separate the next trait, and then you're going to want to put the tier 2s. So the ID, like the number you put in, is determined by when you hover over the trait on the tooltip. You're gonna see an artifact power ID and the number. That's the number you want to take. So Netherlight Fortification is 1739. On Master of Shadows, it's gonna be 1771. So you put 1771. I'm gonna put 3 because I have 3 of them on like all my 3 relics. If you have 2, for example, and then the third one is like another trait, you're gonna put 17712, since you have 2 Master of Shadows. Then you're gonna put another column, and you're gonna put, for example, 1777, and then colon 1, because you'll have 1 of that other trait, which 1777 I think is Chocolate. But since I have 3 of them, I'm just gonna leave 3. And you want to switch over to the tier 3s. So same as before, I have the same on all 3 of them. So I'm just gonna put the artifact power ID of this, which is 330. I'm just gonna put 330 colon 3, and then same as for the tier 2s. If you have only 1 or 2 of those, you put 1 or 2, then colon, and then a name of the other one. So for example, if you picked I don't know, balance blades, for example, you put 327. So 330 and then 327 colon 1. But I have 3 of Master Assassin, so I'll just leave it like this. And this is how your simulation profile should look. Now after that, you hit the simulate button at the bottom right, and then you just wait for the sim to finish. Well, before that, you can take a look at the options. So the important options are target error, length, vary length, fight style, number of enemies, obviously, um, and your word lag. So word lag, you just select more or less how much ping you have when playing. Threads, you can select how many CPU threads you want to dedicate to the sim. Process priority is how much CPU usage you want to dedicate to it. I just set it to low, because if you set it to like normal or high, it just takes up all your CPU and you can't do anything else while it's simming. So just set it to low. Then target error is the margin of error of your sims. If you're just doing like sims for DPS or comparisons, which I'll explain a bit later, you probably just want to put it to 0.1 so that they're faster. If you're going for stat weights, probably put 0.05 or 0.03. Bear in mind that the more precise the sim is, the longer it'll take. So 0.1 is going to take like 30 seconds, 1 minute, depending on your computer. 0.05 is going to take like 5 minutes. 0.03 is going to take like 20 minutes, maybe half an hour. 0.01% is going to take probably around 2 hours. So 0.01 isn't really, I mean, it's your choice, but it's kind of whatever. Yeah, just pick either 0.05 or 0.03. Then length is the length of the fight, so it's kind of up to you. Setting it to 300 is like the standard. Then vary length is to calculate, it's to help calculate more precisely the damage scaling for cooldowns, for like bursts with a lot of cooldown, with a long cooldown, like 3 minute plus. Just leave it to 20% is the default, is a standard as well. Fight style is well, patchwork is basically a dummy. And then if you hover over it, you check, it tells you what each fight style is. So hectic ad cleave is basically going to be something like mythic high command. Actually, high command is probably something more like helter skelter. Ultraxion, there's nothing like Ultraxion in Taurus, I don't think. Something that would be kind of Ultraxion would maybe be... Nah, even then. Nah, I was thinking Harjatan, but Harjatan is probably Helter Skelter as well. Light movement, basically what you see there. It basically just explains light movement. I don't think there's any light movement fights. Heavy movement is probably gonna be something like Govan. Casting Patchwork is basically a dummy, but that's permanently casting to calculate procs on something like Sefus or something. And yeah, there's nothing. And Beastlord is based on Beastlord Darmak from Blackrock Foundry, but there's nothing in Taurus that's similar to it. The number of enemies is, well, the amount of enemies you're fighting. You can also sim your AoE if you put like 8 or like 10 enemies. If you want to sim single target, it's just going to be 1. If you want to sim something like Shivara, you're probably going to put like heavy movement and 2 bosses, for example. Yeah, if you're just doing single target, set it to like patchwork and 1 enemy. Then scaling, well, buffs, debuffs, it should just be like this, like the default. Scaling, this is for stat weights. So depending on whether you want to just sim your DPS, or if you want to sim your stat weights as well, you're going to enable scaling or not. Enable the scaling makes the sim longer. So if you're doing comparisons as well, you just disable it. Since we're doing stat weights, I'll just leave it enabled, and then you can select pretty much everything. So the thing is, well, if you read this, additional simulations will only be run for relevant stats. So basically that means if you're simming like a mage and you have strength and agility enabled, it's not going to actually sim them because you're a mage and you don't benefit from agility nor strength, obviously. Then yeah, that's pretty much the settings. So then you go to simulate, you hit the simulate button, and once it's done you should see something like this. I simmed this, I pre-simmed this before recording the videos. So where like the title where it says assassination equipped and the DPS, this is like the damage you should be doing with your gear. Then if you scroll down a bit, you have like your talents, your artifact traits and everything, your netherlights as well. And then you have your skill factors. So this bunch of numbers, basically the one that's at the left is your best stat and the one that's at the right is your worst stat, put simply. Then skill factors basically means that 1 point of said stat is going to be 50, like 1 point of mastery, for example, is going to be 52.54 DPS increase. If you click on this, it brings up a tooltip. Then same for this. For 1 point of crit is 47.49 DPS increase, and so on. Now, normalized is basically like the easier way to understand this, which is everything divided by the agility, which is like all the skill factors divided by the agility factor. So the agility is obviously going to be 1, and then the other ones are going to be numbers slightly above or slightly below. Scale deltas you just ignore, and error is going to depend on the target error we've set. So it basically means that the error on like the mastery, for example, is going to be 52.54 plus minus 128. Then you have the pawn string. So the pawn string you can just copy. You just copy this, then you bring it up to the pawn icon in your character panel. Then you go to scale, import, and you just paste it. If you go to the left, to the very left of it, you can change the name it's gonna have, because right now it's a pretty dumb name. So you can just say like this, for example, and the assassination, or just assassination, or whatever, doesn't really matter. I'm not going to import it because I already have it, but you basically just click OK and it's going to add the skill to the list. Then something else you want to do is you're going to have the default skills. So for rogue, for example, it's going to be those. You can disable them. Like they're basically going to show like this. Once you have yours, like once you have your weights, you can disable those because they're the default ones and they're not going to be, like the one you simmed yourself is obviously going to be more accurate. So you just disable show skill and tooltips. So that way you don't actually see it. And what this does is basically going to tell you at the bottom of the tooltip of an item how much of an upgrade it is over the item you currently have equipped. The legendary is obviously gonna say they're better because they have a bunch of stats, but that's not taking into account the effects and everything. So, oh, and yeah, you see like a small green arrow. So this is also not taking into account tier pieces and everything. What else? Right, so that's all about the base sim and the base sim and the scales. Now there's comparisons. Okay, now say you've gotten a new relic and you want to check if it's better than the one you have before slotting it in. So we're just going to take as an example this shadow relic from Hounds. So what you're going to do here is you're going to go to your sim profile. You can change the name here to the Kingarek, which is the one we have currently equipped. You can change this here to the Hounds relic, which is the relic we're going to compare. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take the main hand string and you're going to paste it down there. Now what you're going to want to do is you're going to need to change the gem ID, which is the relic of the ID, the item ID. So it's 152056 instead of 152055, which is the one from Kingaroth. So we just change this to 6, and then we have to change the bonus ID to the bonus ID of this relic, which is the same as my other relics, because they're on 965 Warforged from Mythic. So you just take this. I mean, usually you write it down, just doing this to save time. And now once you've changed this, you need to also change the crucible. So you're going to take the crucible string and you're going to paste it down here. This is basically going to do another sim, replacing the main hand weapon, like replacing this main hand weapon by this one, and replacing this crucible string by this one. So we need to change, obviously the path to go here would be Dark Sorrows and Master Assassin. So since we lose one Master of Shadows, we change this to 2, because this is like 1771 is the Master of Shadows ID, which I have 3 of. So you change this to 2, and then you add 1781, which is Dark Sorrows. And then, well, it's Master Assassin anyways, so we just keep this on 3303. If this had like Master Alchemist instead of Master Assassin, what we would do is change this to 2 and then change this to 1. So since we're keeping it like this, right, so we've done all the changes needed for the relic. Now check options, disable scaling, 0.1 target error, and now we just sim this. So I mean, I was already expecting this, but obviously the Kingaroth relic is better. So that's if you want to change relics. If you want to change gear, I'll explain in a bit with the ring. Now you can compare, like with comparisons, you can compare if you have, well, you can compare race, for example. You can also compare talents. You can basically compare literally everything. So okay, so let's remove this, and let's do as if, I don't know, Night Elf. Let's put this at night as Night Elf, and then let's change this, for example, to, I don't know, Void Elf. You're gonna take the race thing and you're gonna paste it here, and you're just gonna take Void Elf here. Then you sim, and well, they're basically the same. Then for Night Elf, you can actually check you can actually change the time of the day. So you can do night elf day, for example, and then here night elf night, and then you just change time of day. You change this to night, and it's gonna give the night bonus instead of the crit bonus. Basically, during the day you get crit, during the night you get haste. You can do that. Then say you want to compare two talent setups. So for a SAS, for example, I don't know, say you're retarded and you want to run deeper stratagem. So how the talents work is like each number corresponds to a talent of each row. So the first one is going to be the first talent in the first row. The second one is the first talent in the second row. Then this 3 is going to be the third talent in the third row, so it's Vigor. Now, if you're an idiot, you're going to run Deeper Stratagem, and you're going to replace this 3, which used to be Vigor, you're going to replace it with 1 because it's Deeper Stratagem. So you're going to take this talents, and you're going to place them here. You're going to change this to Vigor, and then you change this to Vigor here, and then you change this to Deeper Stratagem. And now you change this 3 to 1, because the 3 was Vigor. Vigor is the third talent, and Deeper Stratagem is the first one, so you change that 3 to 1, and then you just sim. And yeah, see, I told you, you're an idiot. Vigor is better. But yeah, that was just an example, so now on to the items. So when you open your SimC profile again, you'll see at the bottom there's a line that says copy. You can copy this line and paste it at the bottom of your profile. You can change this, and for example, say you want to know if I don't know, for example, I'd like to know if this what ring would be realistic to sim. Well, this is probably actually a genuine upgrade. So for example, let's do it with this. Well, I need a socket for this. For example, this haste versa ring. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to SimC. You're gonna look for the item in your inventory, and then you're going to, which one was it? Whatever. Let's take this one, and then you're gonna drag it on top of the one you want to replace. So in this case, it's gonna be the second ring. You click there, and it's gonna replace it. So you get copy, the copy line, and the ring line. Fuck. You copy everything and you paste it there. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna sim both this profile and this profile with the second ring being replaced by the one we selected. So it's basically gonna do as if it replaced the finger 2 line by this finger 2 line, basically. Then you can change the name of this and set it to, like, I don't know, 960 crit haste ring, for example. And then you can change the name of the rogue, like, and the rogue line up top. You can change it and set it to 960 Argus ring, for example. And bear in mind that if you change this up here, you also have to change it down here, like where it says assassination equipped. Like the second line at the like the thing, like the name after the comma on the copy line has to be the same as the one up top. And if you sim this, I'm going to put it to 0.01. I'm going to disable scaling because I'm doing a comparison. So there's not much point in having in being like super accurate. I'm just going to sim this. Shouldn't take that long. And basically, what you can do is you can do this infinitely. So for example, on this profile I already have download. On this profile I already have. I've been simming like all the upgrades from the shop. So for example, if I bought the shop head, it would do as if it replaced my current head by the head from the shop. And the result, well, I'll show it to you in a bit. And yeah, so here you can see the difference in DPS from the 960 August ring, which is going to sim 2.34 million roughly, and this is going to sim a bit less than 2.3 million. So basically you can tell that this is better. And then once you have determined which one is better, you just replace it. So in here, you just delete this. Or if you don't want to delete it, you can put a hashtag before each line, and it's actually not going to count them when it does the sim, just in case you want to use it for sims later or whatever. And then if you want to find out, now that you have determined what's the best ring, you can go back here, enable the stat weights, and set the target error back to something more precise. If you go here and you open like the 960 August ring thing, it's not gonna actually have the stat weights, obviously, because we didn't select them. And yeah, and you can pretty much do this infinitely, whether it be with items from the shop or whether it be actually you can do it with gems as well. You can do it with legendaries. So say I want to sim the difference between legendary wrists and legendary boots on Rogue, for example. So here I'm on, this is my wrist set, but say I want to change, I'm just going to open it again. Say I want to change, for example, the legendary boots, which are, don't really know where they are. There are. I'm just going to put the legendary boots here. And then don't forget to change the wrist, because you don't want to sim with 3 legendaries, obviously, because you can't do that. I just need to find my wrists. These, I think. Yeah, that's them. So you're just going to take that copy line again, and you're going to take the wrist and the feet one and the feet lines. Just ignore the last main hand line, because it's the one we took earlier to get the relic IDs, and it's basically useless. Just make sure you don't take that one. Then you just go here and you paste it. Then you can change the name of the rogue thing up here to, let's say, Lego wrists, and then you just paste it here, and then you can change the name of this to, for example, Lego boots. Then you hit, well, since you've done a comparison, you change this back to the 0.1% target error, and you disable scaling, and then you just sim. You can actually leave the scaling on, and you can do you can leave the target error on as well. It's going to be more precise, and it's going to give you the stat weights for both gear setups, but it's going to take a lot longer. So if you just want to figure out what's the best profile, like the best legendary for you to use, and then actually get the stat weights for that specific gear setup. You just run the comparison first, and then you run the stat weights on the profile that's gotten the more DPS. So basically this now. And if you do what I've done here with the shop items, well, you see I've disabled some of them, but basically if you like leave them all enabled, what you get is this. You basically get this. It's a lot of comparisons that show what the biggest upgrade is. So for example, the biggest upgrade here would be the head, then the chest, and so on. And you can open like whichever one you want. So let's just open the head one since it's the highest DPS. You can see I didn't sim the stat weights because obviously it would have taken ages. And I simmed this with 0.1 target error. So you can do that with the legendaries, a bunch of the shop items. Actually, might as well show you what the so this the bonus IDs, you have to change the bonus IDs if you're gonna sim an item from the shop. So basically, you're gonna want to get the ID, like everything here, well except the gem ID, because if it doesn't have a socket, like shop items don't have sockets, so you just ignore that. You take up to the bonus ID, you paste it there, and then for gear from Antorus, you add 1527/3561, and that's going to be the shop, like the bonus IDs for the gear with the shop. Only from like the gear from Antorus. The gear from Mythic Plus is going to be like this from my IF command, for example. It's going to be 3466/1597. That's that. And right, you can also sim if you want to compare, for example, different gem setups or ancient setups. This can be useful if, for example, it doesn't really happen here because my mastery is obviously my best stat, but if two of your stats are really close to each other, which is what happens with, for example, my feral, what you can do is you're gonna need the gem ID of each gem. So mastery is this 151584. Then I think, let me check if I have any more gems here on the other. Okay, one on the other characters. So on my feral, gem 151585 is Versa. 151580 is crit, and I have no idea what the haste one is. But if you just go with your ID tip add-on and you hover over a gem, it's going to tell you the ID. It's going to tell you the ID of that gem. Same as if you hover over an item with a socket, like this one, for example, has a mastery socket. At the bottom of the tooltip, there's a gem ID and tells you what the gem ID is. So for example, if I want to see if I get more DPS by changing this to a crit gem, for example, I would probably change this name to like full mastery gems. Then copy, I would change this, well, save this, and then copy this real quick, and here you would put, for example, one crit gem. Then you change the name of this for mastery gems. You take one crit gem and you copy this, and you change the gem ID to the one of to the ID of the crit gem. So it's this one. There you go. Then I want to test if I had 2 crit gems. So you take this, 2 crit gems, and you take the head, which already has a crit gem, and then you go and you find another item with a gem. Wait, don't I have more gems? I was convinced I had more sockets. Turns out I don't. So let's change this to, for example, 1 crit gem plus 1 crit enchant, for example. Now the thing is, I actually can't remember the ID of the crit enchants. These are all mastery enchants, 5429. Maybe on my feral. I'm pretty sure 5427 is Versa. Whatever, let's sim with Versa. Doesn't really matter. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take one of your rings, you're gonna paste it here, and here you have the ancient ID. So you're gonna replace the ancient ID with the ID of like the other stats ancient. So it's 5427, I think, right? Yeah, 5427. And then say you want to do this, but with 1 crit gem and the 2 ancients. So you change this to 2 ancients, and then you take the other ring, you paste it down here, and you change the ancient ID again. And now you go options, okay. You make sure everything's alright, and then you just simulate. And this is actually going to take a while because it's going to do 4 sims instead of just 1. And this is going to be the result. So gemming full mastery is going to be much more DPS than the other setups, which for some reason don't have much difference. I don't know if they're actually crit or Versa engines though, but let's just pretend they're crit. You can check this. If you scroll down, there's a gear thing here, and if you check finger 1, oh yeah, they were actually crit engines. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all there is to it. And yeah, you can make infinite comparisons basically. Like this is actually rather pointless, but yeah, you can pretty much do infinite comparisons. And then so like here for example, I would just take the full mastery gem setup, so like delete the other ones that I've done here, and change the target error to 0.05, enable scaling, and sim this to figure out my stat weights and everything. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So hope it's understandable enough for everyone and actually make use of this and do more damage. Thanks.